Welcome to live training today with me, Cory Michelle, for Advanced Manifestation. And we are talking today about your questions. I'm addressing a number of your questions. I'm going to address one of your questions that you posted today, and we got a number of questions, and I just don't have time to do them all in one video. So I'm going to deep dive on one question, and I think it's going to hit a number of your guys' questions. So hello, let me know you're here and say hi. And I so appreciate all of your questions that you've asked. They're really great questions. And it was interesting because on a couple of people's questions, you didn't actually ask a question, or they didn't ask a question. And I was like, well, that's interesting, because sometimes what we do is we offer the information, but we don't actually ask the question we want to ask. And it's imperative for us to know how to ask. So I actually helped clarify. If you wanted to go back and look, and you can see that in the thread of this video, but I wanted to mention that first is your ability to be able to clearly ask a question helps your manifestation 1,000,000,000%. If we're being vague, and a lot of times we're taught to be vague, we're conditioned to be vague and not direct and to the point, uh, it messes up our manifestation, because if you're being vague or not having a clear request or ask for your field and your reality, then number one, you're not clear, but number two, you're going to get that in response. So when I will ask people for clarity, I'm actually trying to assist you in getting clear, but also I require your clarity, because I can talk about things forever and it might not hit exactly what you're asking unless you're clear about what you're asking. So it's a very interesting phenomenon that even I struggled with in the beginning of manifesting as well. And I was wondering, why are weird things, inconsistent, incongruent things showing up? Well, it was because I was vague, right? So here's my first tip for you guys. Be clear. Be as clear as you possibly can be. And when you can ask a question, ask a real question that deems that question mark on the end, not just giving a bunch of information. So this will require you in diving a little bit deeper within your own self to see, well, what am I really asking here? What do I really want to know? Versus just saying, here's what I got, right? And then we go, well, what information is coming back to you when we aren't clearly asking a very direct question. So there's my first tip for you today. That's an extra bonus, because today we're going to really talk about, Cory, do I really need to get clear about what I want to manifest? Okay. Do I really need to get clear? Okay. First of all, I want to ask you guys this question, and that is not being clear working for you? Is not being clear actually working for you? Okay. Now, if you answer yes, not being clear is working for me, then great. You have your awareness there that whatever you're doing is working for you. However, if you're asking this question is actually coming from Annika. So thanks for posting this. If it's not working, then you're going to need to get clear. Now, there's a couple of things I want to say about getting clear about what you would like to have. Now, I would say basic beginner manifestation, like if you look at The Secret or the Law of Attraction, things like that, then we're looking at the what. What do you want? Okay. Now, the what do you want is usually the results. So we're looking at, what do you want? The money, the car, the relationship, the business, the partner, the whatever it is that you want, the external thing that's in your physical reality to show up. Usually that's what we're doing in the beginner basics of manifestation. Now, when we are talking about advanced manifestation, it's actually a bigger game we're playing here. We're not just trying to get things, okay? Because your thinking and your perspective when you're just trying to get the external reality is usually, when I have this, then I'll be happy. So when I have the external thing, then I'll be happy. I'll be satisfied. I'll be whatever when I have this external thing. But when you have sort of graduated from the basics of law of attraction and manifestation, we start looking at, well, wait a second, how does the quantum reality really work? Right? You've graduated to this knowing and this information that how our reality works is we're in a vibrational reality. Okay. So we are the projectors of our energy into this holographic field of consciousness that shows up and looks to us, engages with us as physical material reality, as manifested into our external reality. But if we're looking at the basics, we're saying, hey, I want the money, and then that's going to make me feel a certain way. I want the money, and then I can get started. I was watching this show last night called The Ultimatum, and it was about people coming on this reality show to give their partners an ultimatum of whether they're going to get married or not, right? And so they were like, either marry me or we're going to go on this show and figure out if we want to get married or whatever. And a lot of them said, a lot of the women especially said, I want the ring. The ring is what is the most important thing. Well, we know, especially if we're like in our 40s, the ring is not what matters, right? There's so much more to a relationship than, number one, if you're married, number two, if you've got a ring, and three, if he even wants to marry you. Like, there's so many other elements to a relationship than the ring. But to them, the ring symbolized the next phase in life. Now, could it be accurate for them? Potentially. But when we're focused on the one thing that we've decided that matters the most, which is usually the thing we're trying to manifest, oftentimes we're misguided because we're not looking at the whole picture of how the reality is working for us. Okay. Now, if we think the ring is the thing that's going to matter, well, you can get a ring from a person that is not the relationship you want to be having down the road. Right? And so we go, is the ring the thing that matters, or are there other elements that actually matter? Well, so when we're advanced manifesting our realities, we actually want to look at how it works and what actually matters. Okay. So what does matter? Okay. Number one is that your energy matters. So if you think you're going to have the money show up and then you'll be saved or save the day, or the relationship, or the whatever on the external, the clients, the things, if the result is your focus, it's not really going to work all that well. Okay. And the results sometimes, especially if you're open and if you've been asking a question like, well, what else is possible? And how does it get better than this reality or whatever? So you're opening to more. Then it's really hard to get clarity sometimes about the things for this one reason. Are you ready? Let me know below if you want this one reason why. Okay, well, that one reason why is because it starts to become less about the thing manifesting into your world and more about the experience. And the truth is, it's always been that way. But our consciousnesses evolve. So where there's like, we're in, I was going to say like elementary school learning and saying, oh, it's the external, right? But it's not the external, it's actually the internal. It's the experience we have that we want to get clear on. Okay. So if you want a relationship, for example, what experience do you want to have in that relationship? Now, if you want to have a guy that's taller than you, or somebody that's kind, or all the things you want to have, sure, tune into those things, right? But there are going to be specifics that don't quite match that will match the experience you want to have. So if you say, hey, listen, this is the experience with a relationship. This is the experience with money. This is the experience of my business and having clients. What is the experience you would like to have? If you get clear on the experience, that's what you need to have clarity with. And that oftentimes is a lot easier than the what. So like if we look at my life, when I was living in San Diego, I don't know how many years ago that was now. Gosh, it was like over 6 years ago. I was having this conversation with myself of like, what would make my life better than I could even imagine? And I started looking at that and I said, I really don't know exactly what that would be. Like, I could have said things like have a bigger business or have a really great relationship because I just got out of a really bad one. Or I could have said, the normal sort of things, but none of them were really lighting me up. I was just like, you know what? I'd like to have a reality that's greater than I can imagine right now, and one that's full of adventure, and one where I'm free to really follow my awarenesses, and I'm really like excited about life again. And when I started engaging with that question, it started showing me the energies, like the energetic reality. Okay. And when I started going, oh, let's see what comes into my awareness based on that, then what started happening was I went, oh, it would be so fun to go to Australia for 6 weeks. Right. Well, those questions led me to now living in Australia. Right. And now, and then another line of questions of opening to, all right, well, I had this relationship that really was like the last straw in this codependent behavior of mine, and attracting these guys that were not healthy at all for me. Then who am I in relationship that has somebody that is kind, that has somebody that I could build something long term with? Right. And so really looking at the energies of what I would like to have instead of the things I thought I needed before. Okay. And so when we start looking at the experience versus the outcome will always happen. We can trust that it'll happen if you get clear on the experience. So if you're having trouble connecting in with the what you think you want, because this is what we're entrained to. Remember, I started my first like introduction to personal growth. I was in a multi-level marketing company when I was about 22, and they would always say, "What's your why and what's your what?" And I was like, "I'm 22. Like I don't have a family. Like I don't have like this thing like to leave this legacy. And like I don't have anything anybody else had." So I didn't know what my what was, and I didn't know what my why was either. And it was really hard because nobody was talking about the experience, right? What do you think the result of having the money is going to be for your life? Well, that's your priority, is whatever that is. So if we come off of what we've decided and concluded it would be, or even that we don't know of what those things would be that would make us happy, that would make us feel satisfied, that would make us feel joyful and successful, and we start going for those energies first, then we've actually stepped into the advanced manifesting conversation, where it is not about the results, it's about the experience. Okay. And when you work deeply with this with yourself, you can craft this and weave energetically this reality so that your external starts responding to your energies. And this is where the advanced element comes in as well, is because if you're not seeking the need for validation through results, then you can actually tune in to your future self that already has this reality and all the external at the same time. Okay. And when we're willing to be that, respond that way in life, allow ourselves to create in that way, even if the external isn't showing up yet, right? Then that's when we start having the experience that expands our reality. Okay. Now there's a bunch of other elements to this, including becoming that version of you, stepping in, continuing to work with releasing everything that doesn't align. So if you've been somebody who has been seeking the external result in order to prove and validate that you did it, or that you're good, or that you are successful, right? Then we got to break down some of those patterns, because all of those are learned patterns that we get when we're kids that really block us from having the experience that's available and going beyond our going beyond our imagination. So the other element to here is, if we're only looking to manifest the things, we're only working with a confined box of creation, right? And then if you're not manifesting that, if that's not showing up, actualizing into your reality, then what happens is the energetic addictions start popping up. Like, oh, see, I'm not a success. Now I'm disappointed, right? And then there's a whole nother layer to all of that that I won't go into yet today. But I wanted to invite you, if you're somebody who's like, you know what, I need to know more about this. I actually call this the 5D creation process. And when we're working with 5D creation process, it's not like your traditional basics of manifestation where we're looking for, hey, get clear on the external thing you want and then go for it to try to get there. We're actually reverse engineering and going to the future, reverse engineering it, tuning into the energy and really crafting and weaving this energy from your being externally. So you're radiating this reality so that it starts showing up in your external. Now, the cool thing about this process is that when you start working with this process for what you would like to have, what you desire, right, then what happens is it starts to become sustainable. So if you've ever noticed, if you're trying to manifest something, you're saying, I want that. And then we go after it, we're chasing it. Now, sometimes it shows up and sometimes it doesn't show up, right? If we're chasing after something or going after something, it has to be going away from us and away from us for us to be going there. The truth is that you're the center. You're the center of it all. It's all rearranging for you. And if you think you need to chase something, there's something backwards in your thinking. You've learned something that's opposite of how it actually is. So try this on. This process of going to the experience and then reverse engineering it to come to the now and start being that version of you now that already has it. Now, we hear that all the time. It's not a new concept. It's a concept that is. So going, hey, what if I already have this experience of having plenty of money, for example? Then what is life like? How do I respond? How do I look at my bank account? Okay. Now, if you'd like to be walked through a process, I have a really wonderful class that I did last year that will walk you through creating one of your desires, getting clear on the energetic side of what you would like to be experiencing, how to lock that in, anchor that in to your subconscious so that it starts manifesting physically into your reality. If you would like to grab it, it's only $37. You can check it out at desireintoreality.com/5D-creation, and I will pop it in here for you as well. It is a glorious, I think, 3 hours with me maybe. And you can do it in little segments and you get a whole workbook as well. So the other thing that's in there is one of the things that really messes people up. And that is, hold on a second. I don't know if that actually, nope, it didn't. Hold on a second. I'll post it here. I'm not sure if that's the right place to post it. One of the things that messes people up is that they think they have a desire that actually isn't accurate. And so and I say that because I could say a lot about this. There's a desire cheat sheet in there so that you can actually go through this checklist and say, hey, is this desire actually mine? Is it actually possible? Because so much of the time we're in a fantasy of what is possible, especially if you've had that thing you've wanted to create for a long time. How do you determine if it's a fantasy and not actually something that's possible? And this cheat sheet, it's 6 questions. It will assist you in getting clear on if you should even go for this at all, right? And so what you do in this whole process is you pick one thing, get really clear on it, go through the whole process, and then step into that energy of having it already realized. It's really amazing and very clear process that leads you through all the steps so that you know exactly how to do this process. So if you would like that, it's desireintoreality.com/5D-creation, and you can have it. It's yours. And you can do it as many times as you want. And the workbook and the questions that I take you through create deeper awarenesses and help you get clear, especially if you're somebody who doesn't feel like you have clarity or has been pretty vague in your world. I find that that's so common, that vagueness, that it really creates blocks for people in what they want to create. So grab that, do it, and let me know how it goes. Let me know what you are targeting to manifest. So that's what I have for you today. Do I really need to be clear about what I would like Yes, you do. 100% you need to be clear. And if you're not clear, you might need to go to the energy versus the result. Okay. And this is the reverse engineering of creating with the quantum field. All right. Thank you guys so much for the questions. There's a couple of other questions that I'm going to start answering in some of the next videos as well because they were so good. I really appreciate them. And the next one I'm going to do next week is going to be all about what to do when you've got other people in your household or you're in relationship with that are not on the same page of what you want to create for your life. So we'll dive right into that one next one. Big wishes for all of you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging. And I wonder what else is available for you. I'll see you later.